do we need every day?
Yes, so we hear this a lot. Once I start talking about balancing proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, people are like, well, how much do I need? So there are a lot more difficult ways to determine this, and really, if you are very active, you're going to have to bump this up a little bit, and if you're underactive, um, actually, if you're underactive, you're probably just about right with this. What you do is you take your body weight and you divide it by 2.2, and then you multiply it by 0.8. Some of the math is done down there. For example, if you weigh 200 pounds, you can calculate 72 grams of protein a day. I don't want to do the math in my head, so let's say that came out as around 90 grams a day. That means each major meal would have something like 30 grams of protein in it. But remember, we're breaking up our meals during the day, so let's make that 20 grams of proteins for each major meal, and then break them up to like 5 or 10 throughout the day. I really don't like counting things like proteins, and I don't really like counting things like calories, because it's not that helpful to us, because we really don't want to worry about how much we're putting in. We want to worry about what we're putting in much more. But a lot of people ask this question.
I am so glad you said that, because I noticed some of the diets I've done in the past, you wind up being just obsessed with food, and that's all you get to think about. I know I have felt, when I did the zone in particular, I felt like that was my full-time job, because you couldn't put anything in your mouth without having the exact amount of each food group, and it just became
crazy.
Yeah, it was just unlivable. But one thing we mentioned in the emails, and if someone missed this particular email, if you're getting this amount of protein, it really helps to wipe out those carbohydrate cravings that drive us nuts while we're trying to be healthy.
Yes, and there's good reason for that. So proteins actually build the brain chemicals that we need in our brain in order to tell us we're full. So when we're not eating enough proteins, we're constantly going to be craving food, because we don't have the brain chemicals running around in our head saying, you know what, you have enough. And what we do is we think that brain chemical can be fed by carbohydrates, but it really can't.
Wow. I think you said in one of the emails, or the way you explained it to me, was that the carbohydrates we eat kind of mimic
Right.
the things that we actually need in our brain, when
Exactly.
the protein is what builds them for real. So it's kind of like a fake version of having what you need.
Exactly. We think it's doing, but anybody who does that would know it's not right. You're thinking, oh, I'm hungry, so I eat a bunch of carbohydrates, and then you feel awful.
And then you feel hungry again,
Yeah.
even though you've just eaten. I mean, how many of us have done that? Raise your hand. Okay. I know I have.